Welcome back, everyone, to another Fire Friday, and I am extremely excited about this one because not only do I have my dear friends and partners, Jen and Jason Catalanotto, I always mess up their last name, I know, and just people who I absolutely adore, who I've seen their business skyrocket, what they do for the community, how they're such a power couple. In addition to that, present parents, and just always giving back. So Jen and Jay, welcome so much. Thanks so much for being here on Fire Friday, which you guys know is very special to me. I only invite people that I know can make an impact in people's lives. So welcome.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for having us. Yes.
Hey, so you guys just got off of an event. You guys just did a relaunch live Tampa. You guys are truly pioneers in what I would consider the Tampa market, bringing that kind of event together, brand agnostic. How do you guys feel?
It was amazing. It was so much fun. And that's something that we've been talking about doing. And it was kind of a big goal of ours, was to host a relaunch here in Tampa. And so to see that
come to fruition.
Yeah, it was just super exciting. It was very exciting.
Well, it's funny because we were talking right before and, you said, I feel like I threw a wedding, right? And, I've done a lot of events and it's actually how I built my business. And, I said, I could totally relate. It's like you need a vacation from the event because you're like, everybody ate, nobody was left out. We were able to get everything, but there's always things that go wrong, but you can't show, you can't let people know that something's going wrong or that you're stressed.
Right.
It's like a wedding, right? You have to still, the show must go on. But I think what's really cool is that done is better than not done, right? You took action, you learned from it, and here you are now making an impact on over 100 plus agents who are in the room. And a lot of them are now eager to go out there and build their own, event to host, whether it's a buyer seminar, seller seminar, community-based seminar. You guys actually, as a result to that event, are now launching an investment workshop for other people because of the interest of people wanting to learn more how to buy homes and become an investor. So it's really cool that even if it's not perfect, which yours was amazing. I said you guys set the bar really high on what live should look like between your branding, your marketing, and how you pack the room. But even if it's not perfect, the fact that you took action makes you a leader, a thought leader, and an authority in your market. So how can agents who are listening to this, kind of learn from you guys what you did on a relaunch level, but also you guys do events, you partner with the local commissioner, you utilize the big, I would say, recreation event center, which I've gone to an event there before with you guys, and it's impressive. You put yourself out there, you've built a business through reputation of giving back to the community. What can agents do today to do that in their business? And then once you answer that, we're going to go back into your story and how you guys got started.
Okay. Yeah. So I would say, I think that, obviously this relaunch event was a big event, right? This was the biggest event that we've done. I shouldn't say biggest event as far as attendance goes, but as like production wise and bringing people in. But I think that for us, events just always felt really natural because I love having people around me. I like hosting our friends. And so I think a lot of people think, they shouldn't do events or they're worried about the attendance. And who doesn't like to be invited to something? Like I would rather host an event and invite somebody because it makes everybody feel special. So for us, events have always been a huge part of our business. I mean, really right out the gate, as far as client appreciation events, being involved in the schools. I mean, we sponsor, teacher lunches and try to invite teachers to things. We going back to the community and doing events with the community is we always try to partner with some sort of charity. So some way to give back into the community, because who doesn't want to feel like they're a part of something like that?
And I think it shows clients and even other agents in your marketplace the real authentic you, right? Like people see us a lot of times as a real estate agent or a business professional or an entrepreneur, but when you have these in-person events, you're just talking to them more on a human, person-to-person level.
I can't.
Oh, wait, I think my sound went away for a
There
second.
you go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you guys nailed it, right? You said it. It makes people feel special. It makes people feel like they're a part of something. My good friend Lori Reeder always told me when she was coaching me up, she's like, Veronica, I'm like, I don't have enough pies to give away for Thanksgiving, or I don't have enough turkeys to give away for Thanksgiving. She's like, Veronica, it's not about the pie. It's not about the turkey. It's about the invite. It's about making people feel special, whether they come and pick it up or not. It's about the fact that you picked up the phone and you made them feel special. And that's the same for your client base. It's the same for the teachers. It's the same for the business owners that you're helping out, and no different, for your community and the relationships. It's not always about the fact that they say yes. It's not about the fact that they can come or not. It's not about that they can consume the content. It's about the fact that you thought about them and you took the time to let them know, hey, I'm thinking about you and I want you to be there if you can be there. And a lot of times people take the fact that they couldn't come, the rejection part, as, kind of like the outcome, when it's not. It should be the fact to say, hey, I was just thinking about you, and I'd love for you to be there. If you can't, let's catch up. And that's a great way for agents to, if you felt like you had the remorse of breaking up with someone after you close on a house with them and you haven't called them in a long time, invite them to something. Rekindle that relationship. Tell them, hey, it's been a while since we saw each other. I was thinking about you. You guys should come out to this. Would love to reconnect. And I think so many agents, think about the client that they run into the grocery store and they're like, oh my God, I haven't talked to them in a while. Like, oh my God, I don't want them to see me because I haven't called them. Use that as an opportunity to rekindle those relationships, because it really does have power and magic and can really, it can be the difference of a really strong, healthy referral base and a relationship that can be long lasting. And people understand life gets in the way. People understand that life gets in the way. But when you are able to have the courage to reach out and say, it's been a while, or I dropped the ball, or hey, life got in the way. How have you been? Pick up on that last conversation and say, by the way, whatever happened to this? That's the type of stuff that people say, wow, thanks for thinking about me, even if you've lost touch with people. But anyways, going back to events, we built our business on events as well. I didn't have a budget, so I had to do events. And I'm talking about I had to do events on a budget. So what I would do is I'd go to local businesses and I'd say, what is your ideal avatar? Who can I help you target? Mm-hmm. Who do you need to know about your business and consume your products? And what are your slowest times? What if I can bring you business during that time? Right? So pizzerias, I was like, all I want is to let me redo your menus, or let me put some specials on your boxes, and how can we help you? Right? Or I'm going to host an event here on a budget, between my sponsors and myself back then. And they were just happy that I was bringing them business. So I would host events at restaurants. I would host events at, places that I knew I could tap into their audience or their consumer base. And I could bring people to be like, hey, I'm an ambassador of this business. I love helping businesses connect with other people. That was the only way I knew how to build my business, guys. And from there, it just turned into more and more and more opportunities. And I was always looking for critical mass. Where can I go to where my reach extends multiple people at once? And that's the power of community events. Right, yeah. That's the power of business events. That's the power of hosting events. So I hope that agents who are listening can follow your guys' lead and maybe take a tip from me here as to the importance of hosting events.
And exactly to your point. So one of the events that we've done, and it became a thing that we started doing every year. We're excited to get to do it again this year, is we would rent out the local ice rink, right? So we have this amazing facility. I don't know if a lot of people know this about our area, but it's supposed to be known as the sports coast is what they're trying to do. So the Olympic hockey team and stuff trains here. And so we have this amazing facility. And so we rented that facility as a client appreciation event. But again, we rented part of it. We partnered with them. We turned it into a fundraiser, which they were excited to be a part of. So they donated all the skates to all of our clients that came. I think we had 120 people come. Yeah. So that saved us a ton of money. And then not only did we get in front of all of our clients, they got to be a part of this amazing day. They also had all of their skaters there. They had performances. And so then now we were in front of thousands of other people.
Right. And not only that, we spun that into a give back to the charity, right? So we had Santa Claus come and the families could get the backdrop with Santa. The kids could sit on Santa's lap. And what we had asked is that they would bring a toy, that we could donate, and we donated all these toys after the event as well. So it was great because we got to see the family side of a lot of clients. We also found that a lot of clients brought people that we didn't know, right? So they brought their friends. So now we're, to your point, we're reaching out that critical mass. We're reaching people that we had no idea who they were prior to this event. And at the end, we've got to give back to the community as well, because we're donating we're donating toys to underprivileged kids.
Yeah,
I love that. I love that. And I think that a lot of times agents get caught up on the budget, right? They think, it's going to cost too much, or they'll do one event and then that's it. Like, the consistency is important, and you don't have to do an event every month. But if you say, hey, I'm going to plan at least 3 events a year, one during the holidays, because everybody wants to give back during the holiday, one that's kicking off spring, and then one that's maybe back to school, right? So you think, I have to just give. People want to give. People want to be a part of something. So if you can tie a charity in, you'd be amazed how many people will stand behind your cause. I was just talking to one of my coaching clients yesterday, and it was really interesting as she did an exercise, as she's kind of building something up. She was able to get really intentional, because suicide and mental health awareness is really important to her. So what she's actually getting ready to launch will support mental health awareness and suicide prevention. And it's something that who wouldn't want to get behind that, right? Because it's something she's passionate about. And she's not trying to sell anything. She's not trying to it's just fulfilling to her, which I know for you guys, it's fulfilling to give back. All right, guys. So tell me a little bit about how you guys got started in the business, and, who got in first, who convinced the other, and, how this all started.
Okay. So basically, he actually kind of encouraged me to get started.
Pushed her out of her comfort zone.
No, I just say not out of my comfort zone. So we had just moved to Florida, right? We had literally lived here just a few months. I didn't know anybody, didn't have a sphere, anything. And he's like, I think you should get your real estate license. And I was like, and of course my response was like, oh, everybody's a realtor. Everybody thinks they're going to make money in real estate. And so he encouraged me to do that. And so I did. And then at the time, our realtor that we used when we moved here I became good friends with her. And she was very successful, one of the top agents in the area. And every time I'd go to lunch with her, she would always complain about how she was so busy, and she didn't really want to be working at that level. She's just a different breed. She cracks me up. She's the only person I know that complains about doing 30 million in homes a year on her own. So,
she was getting close to retirement. So I think she was hitting that stage where it's like, oh, I'm still, she still had that high drive personality. So she was succeeding, but then she's like, I kind of want to just be sitting on the beach every day.
Right.
Yeah. So, it's a little exhausting.
Right. Yeah. So her version of the story is that I told her we were going to be partners. I felt that I asked us to be partners because I had no idea. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know what I was doing. And so I kind of partnered up with her and got a taste of it. I was like, give me a shot. Give me one shot at it. I said, just give me 1 month and let me see if I can do this for you. And I sold 5 homes my first weekend with her. 1 weekend.
Oh my God.
I didn't know how to write a contract. Like, I just was taking appointments and running with it. So,
well, that's the best is when you're new, you don't know what you're doing. And all you know that you've got to go do is just go make it work. Right. And you're like, I have to write a contract. I just sold a house. I didn't know how to write a contract. and you're bringing people, and people are like, what are you doing? And you're like, I don't know. I'm just helping. They want to buy it. Like, I just
got to do this. And the funny thing is so the first client I showed, I remember it was a Saturday morning. I showed her, and then she called me back that night and wanted to go see another house, but I had shown a bunch of other clients in between. And I saw her and she was like, oh, girl, you do not look like you did this morning. I was a hot mess by the end of the day. But no, so her and I were a partner for about a year. We had a great working relationship. She was an incredible mentor. I think I sold 66 homes my first year. And then she said, I'm retiring. She's like, I'm out. I'm done. So she did. She retired. She lives on the beach. And so that's when I was like, okay, you had gotten your license a little bit before, but we're like, okay, we got to make this work. The two of us, like, this is where we got to go. We have a huge opportunity here, and
in being past business owners, I think it was just natural, right? We've been in sales our whole lives. We've owned businesses, since we were really 20, when, 2022, when we first met, and we were both running businesses even at that point. So for us, it was a natural progression. Like, just approach the business from a business standpoint. I think that's where so many realtors sometimes get lost, is they don't think of being a real estate agent as it's really owning a business.
Well, it's so funny because you guys have always told me the story of, your previous entrepreneurial spirit, but I feel like I could drop you guys anywhere, give you any product, and you would sell it, because you guys can sell ice to an Eskimo. It's crazy. Like when I hear the stories of Jason, when he was growing up, he was a hustler, as far as like whether you're, buying a car, flipping a car, baseball cards, this, that, starting a business, I don't know, selling dirt and
burial plots. Remember burial plots? That's what it was.
Like anything that you would get your hands on, you'd be like, oh, I can make a business out of this. Oh, I can make a business out of this. I'm like, dude, like you're like Mr. Serial Entrepreneur. I love that about you.
Thank you.
And
then now your daughter is quite an entrepreneur too.
Yep. She actually she had a job and just put in her 2 weeks notice, because she's like, why would I ever do this when I can make so much more money? And I was like, right.
But it was good that she saw that and recognized it, right? Like she had her Etsy store. She got to the point in high school, before she could even drive, where she's making $10,000 a month. And yet she still wanted to have a job to kind of try that out. We knew the path was going to happen where she would be like, why am I working for this $100 paycheck when I've got all this money here, right? And so it finally all came together. But yeah, I love seeing it. I love encouraging it. Watching your
Let's talk about this. How old is she?
She's 16 now, and she started this business when she was 15.
Right.
Wow, that is so impressive. You guys hear that? Started at 15, 16, and she actually had to place a stop or a pause on her orders because she also understands capacity. She's very involved in her business. She makes custom shirts with really cool sayings on it on an Etsy shop. And at the age of 16, already has experience making $10,000 on pretty much e-commerce. And it's pretty impressive. So we've got agents out there, who might hear this and be like, wait, I'm a real estate agent and I don't even make $10,000 a month. Like, what's wrong with that story, right? If you want something bad enough, you're willing to go out there. If you're doing something that's aligned with your purpose, it's amazing what can happen. And here you got a 15-year-old. She could school some people, right? I think she told me, she said,
she makes me laugh. She's a hustler.
And she holds a 4.2 while running that business. Right. So she's all about school as well, which is going back to your comment. She literally paused the store so that her grades don't slip, right? She wants to make sure she maintains that grade point average above a 4. And then, she has cheer and stuff. So it's awesome. And I think for other agents out there, the opportunity that we have being real estate agents is huge, right? Like I know I touched on this at relaunch, but we literally are friends with doctors and attorneys that have gone to school for 4 years, 6 years, 8 years to get this degree, come out with all this debt. And I can show you a lot of situations where I know realtors or ourselves that make more money than some of these doctors and attorneys that spent half their life just going to school. So I think capitalizing on the opportunity that we have in front of us is huge.
But I think one of the things that you kind of touched on is it's opening a business. And I will say, even like us getting into it, like I kind of went into real estate, like, oh, that sounds fun. And a couple different things. I didn't know anybody here. We had lived in the state for 3 months. The only person that I really knew was our realtor.
Wow.
And, a couple of people. So when people say, well, I don't have a sphere, I don't have this, there's no excuse for it. It's just, again, it was opening a business. We did end up buying leads and doing some lead gen things because I didn't have a database of people to call, but it's fine. We had to figure it out. I just looked at it as opening a business. If I was opening a coffee shop, I would start advertising. I would start marketing my coffee shop. So I had to just approach it from that same standpoint.
And we came out of the gate pretty much with $5,000 or $8,000 ad spend just right out of the gate. And we're like, we're going to make this work. We don't have the sphere. We don't have the contacts here yet, but let's buy that. And then when you put that on the line and it's your money, I mean, you're so much more motivated to call those leads, respond to those leads, follow up 10 times with those leads, right? Yep. Because that's I think, where we see a lot of the missing link in this industry is so many people are like, oh, well, the internet leads don't work. Well, do they not work or did you not work them, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I love that. Hey, so tell me a little bit about your passion for investments. I know that that's a big thing that you guys are super passionate about. Now you're going to build an event around that. and this little thing called Pigeon Forge, Tennessee as well.
Yeah. So what we're finding is the passive income is amazing, right? So we've got a goal in our head. We're in our early 40s, and we're like, we want to work hard until we're 50, right? And we're never going to stop working. We're not the type of people, but I want to be able to lay off the gas and maybe start living off of some of this passive income. And what an opportunity we have, because we're realtors. We get paid when we buy property, right? And I love the analyzing the deal portion of it. To me, it takes the emotions out of it. And when I say emotions, how many times do we show families houses, and the husband has a certain thing about the house, or the wife wants a certain thing, and there's all these emotions involved because they're buying this home to live in. When I'm dealing with investors, I'm literally just breaking down numbers. Hell, they don't even want to go see the property until the inspection period. So I'm not running all over. I'm gathering the data on the backside out of the MLS or off-market properties, wherever we're getting that. I'm building the deal structure that I can present to them as far as so that they can see a PDF showing, hey, this is the return I expect you to get. Here's the cash on cash. Here's the cap rate. Here's an exit strategy. You know, if I know that that investor likes to hold for 5 or 10 years, I'll put that exit strategy on there. I love the investment side. I love buying them. I love helping others buy them and build their portfolio and increase their net worth.
I love that. I love that. And yet so many agents shy away from it. You know, I think it's because they either don't know or they're just intimidated, and they want that emotion because that's all they can play on, right? Because I think agents just lack the knowledge of understanding the cap rate, understanding what investors are looking for.
Yeah.
And then they think, oh, investors are just going to run me around town. They can back out. Well, that's not the case. If you're working with people who are truly true investors or want to become true investors, they're going to be serious. They're going to follow your guidance. So that's why it's super important for agents to become educated. So I really would love for people to know how they can follow you. So that way, when you do host your next investment workshop, can people attend virtually, or will it just be in person in Tampa?
I think we might end up doing a virtual option on that one, just because I think that there were so many people from different areas that have asked us questions on this.
Yep.
And to his point, I think that, or to your point, I think so many agents are so afraid of it because they don't understand the terminology. They don't understand like where to send them to as far as like financing, and because it's completely different.
Yeah.
And just kind of teaching that, but then going back to our own personal investments, like we're selling real estate every day. We should be investing in what we're selling. We should be believing in our product. Yeah. And that's where you see real wealth and real, lifestyle changes, is when you can actually grow something. If you're always just working for the dollar, when does that end? So again, coming back to just like really building just different streams of income. And
I highly encourage agents to use some of that commission to go buy real estate, right? Yeah. Because then you're also going to be an expert. You're going to be that much more knowledgeable and that much more confident when you talk to that next client. Because if you're sitting on a portfolio of investments that you own that are real estate related, that knowledge comes through in these other conversations that you're going to have. And then what I found in the investor world is everybody's friends with everybody, right? So you generally hang around other high net worth individuals. They also want to invest in real estate. I mean, real estate, 90% of millionaires in the country right now have become millionaires through real estate. Yeah. And even the other 10%, I guarantee you they own real estate as well, right?
Absolutely.
So we love it. And going back to the Pigeon Forge, Tennessee thing, what we started noticing here is we wanted to get more into the short-term Airbnb game, stuff like that. And we're over in the Tampa, St. Pete area. And over there's a lot of rental restrictions near the beach. And then we also started to have a problem where the market accelerated so quickly that the returns weren't as high. So we noticed from when we would go to Tennessee and go to the Smoky Mountains, hey, these areas are really starting to develop. They're getting busier every time we come up. What does this Airbnb market look like? And so that's how we got started up there. And now, now we've got another one under contract. We've got 4 lots that we're working on doing new builds on. but it's just an opportunity, right? So I can go up there and get a slightly better return, cash on cash return, cap rate return. So now I'm literally selling investments both in Florida and Tennessee. By the way, I got licensed in Tennessee. It was super easy, you know.
Wow.
So dual license, and honestly, that's another beautiful thing about our brokerage, right? Is we don't have these limiting restrictions on the areas. So jumping up to another market like that really was pretty easy. But now I'm selling property up there as well. A lot of these are even new builds, and I'm getting paid for it, which is awesome. And
So,
you know, these deals too.
So cool. And I didn't know that Pigeon Forge was such a huge like tourism capital. Like I think I was talking to Jay Combs. He was like, we're the #1 destination in the US. And I'm like, what? I was like, I didn't know that. He was like, you need to come and buy some real estate up here. Like,
I mean, I'm telling you,
coming, Jay.
Hey, it's funny because we had never gone. So my dad actually built one first, right? So he had just they really wanted one. They were going to do an Airbnb there, but they just really wanted a place in the mountains. So I had never been. And he's like, why don't you guys come stay at our place? And first of all, it's a great place to go with your kids and stuff like that. It's a fun thing to do, but we had never even been to that area. Like, we're going to start buying houses here.
Right. Well, you know what was interesting is, so the town's actually called Sevierville, and it's a little town outside of Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. So you can get to either of those tourist destinations in about 20 minutes, but yet Sevierville is kind of like that little small town tucked in the mountains, right? And when I started doing research on it, I used a lot of times for short-term rentals, we'll use MashVisor and AirDNA.co to get rental comps for short-term. What I noticed was this little town of Sevierville that I had never heard of, 2 years ago, was ranked in the top 3 on both of those sites. It was #1 on AirDNA, and it was ranked #3 on MashVisor for the highest Airbnb returns in the entire country.
Wow. I think we just got some massive value there, like a nugget that people are going to be like, I'm going to go look up Sevierville. We're all going to buy there.
Right.
We can help you.
That's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool, guys. I have an idea for you guys. I mean, if we're open to hosting events, I mean, I say, hey, you guys just host an event to say, hey, come on out, check out Sevierville. If you guys want to learn how to invest, host a mastermind out there. I know that you guys actually made it a point to work with some local banks. You even discovered, how the local bank, what's the best scenario in those small town banks, because they know everyone and everybody knows how it moves over there. There's relationships. So you guys inserted yourself really, really quickly and already built a reputation over there that they can trust. So it's just so cool to see.
We should do a mastermind there. That
might
be
mastermind in the mountains.
Yeah, we might have to plan that.
I like the way that sounds. Hey guys, this has been amazing. One last thing. All right, Jay, tell us a little bit about your passion for sports cards. Tell us a little bit about that.
This is my original hustle.
You can't give him 2 minutes on this one. This one is going to go on forever.
This is like me going back to 10 years old, right? And like buying baseball cards, football cards, basketball cards, and going to the local flea market. We grew up in Ohio, going to the local flea market and literally flipping cards, right? So that's what got me into the whole, I can flip anything, right? I can sell anything and flip it for a profit, because I did it with baseball cards at 10 years old. And then, I've kind of stuck with that. Being from Akron, Ohio, I invested a lot in LeBron James cards 15, 20 years ago, which has turned out to be a really fantastic investment for us, because even though she wants me to sell them all the time, I never sell them. But now that's even opening doors. I had a meeting yesterday with a company that is owned by Marcus Lemonis. And Marcus Lemonis has the TV show The Profit. He owns Camping World. I had a great meeting with them yesterday, and now we've got a follow-up meeting about being an advisory on their board to expand that industry on fractional buying, right? So now what we're seeing is some of these cards are getting to the point where they're multiple millions of dollars. People want to invest in them because the returns keep going up, but yet a lot of people don't have $2 or $3 or $4 million to go lay down on one card. But hey, if I can buy 1 or 2% of that, in collectively we can spread this out, and then we have an exit plan of, hey, when this $1 million card becomes 1.5 million, we'll go ahead and cash that out, and then we'll share the dividends between everybody. So That's my super exciting side hustle that I'm on.
That he's obsessed with. Like,
but-
let me just tell you, he's on the phone all night long. But going back to that, though, again, you never know, going to events, going to things, who you're going to meet. Yeah. He met these investors or the owners of this company by going to sports coach shows, showing up at events, networking with people. And then from there, that conversation yesterday with them was, okay, but now we want to invest in this with you, but we also want to look at real estate as well.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. Like now they're talking about doing some of the other investment properties.
And that goes back to the conversation earlier, right? Most people that have a high net worth are invested in real estate. If you're playing in the sports card market and you're dealing with cards that are 10, 20, 50, 100 or $1 million for cards, generally those people have a higher net worth and they also own real estate. So now I'm going to use the two industries that I have a passion for and blend them together and make them both profitable.
Yeah.
Wow.
And in the investment portfolios, like working with investors, when you get in with some investors and you start working with them, first of all, they're ridiculously loyal, right? Like they don't want to be hopping around from real estate agents. They want to know who they're working with, that you know what they want.
You know what they want.
And the referrals that come from that. I mean, perfect example is we have one client. He referred us his friend who called and said, I have $20 million I have to spend on real estate.
Wow.
Find me $20 million worth of properties. I don't care if they're 300 to 2 million. If it makes sense, I'll buy them. Like, where else do you get referrals like that?
And I love the story of the investor that also was the first one that kind of took you guys under your wing. And then, like even the tricks and the trade of buying hotels and the different benefits of that. Like, I feel like I need to bring you guys back just to talk about investors and just to talk. I mean, you guys have such a wealth of knowledge. I know everyone who's watching this is going to be wanting to hit you guys up, not only for your experience with events, how you tapped into a market and were able to just crush it with no fear through events, through community involvement, your investors. Now you're doing the same thing in Tennessee, and also your flipping card game and your side hustle. Jason, you could definitely say, see, babe, I made it as an influencer in the card game and the card flipping game.
That's what I have to say. That's what I have to eat my words on that. We were so young when he bought those cards. And I remember we did not have the money.
Wait. So let's talk about that story. I don't normally go over on Fire Friday, but for this, we're going to do so. We're going to wrap up with this.
Okay.
Tell the story of how you got the card. That story, wrap us up with that. Talk about following your heart and your intuition, Jason, sticking to it. And Jen, you look back now and we're like, okay, I'm glad you bought the cards.
So I'll just tell my version and then he can tell his version. So basically we were young. We owned a car dealership, but we were 20, we were young.
22.
So, and we had just started this business and some guy came in and he wanted a car and he didn't have any money. This is where my husband's always thinking. But he had these sports cards. So he traded a car.
Well, he needed down payment money, right? So he had worked with LeBron James because remember, we're coming from Akron. This is right when LeBron's making that transition from high school into the pros. So the gentleman that kind of was almost like an agent for him, if you will, through high school and guided him, had all this memorabilia, right? So he had autographed shoes, autographed basketballs. He had sports cards. So when he had needed a car, but for whatever reason, he didn't have any money at that point. I'm like, I got you. We can work this out. Let me trade some of this stuff for your down payment. And ultimately, that's how I landed on a lot of that stuff at that point. And I remember because I had to cover the money, right? I couldn't show the bank, hey, this guy needed 10 grand down and here's a whole bunch of basketball cards, right? So I had to literally buy him and then, give the bank the money for the down payment. And so that conversation was like, yeah, you're crazy.
Well, because he didn't even go pro yet at this point. This is when he was
this is when LeBron James is still like a town hero, but yet it was more like we're betting on him, right?
Correct.
We were absolutely
going to be a superstar, right?
Yep.
So you saw this opportunity. This is the guy who's mentored LeBron James, a hometown hero. You guys actually grew up and, that you saw LeBron kind of grow up in your town and everything was around him. He went to school with your brother, your parents, you were telling me, live not too far, your dad or something like that. So, and he was always a good stand-up kid, right? You're watching this happen. Jason, you're saying like, I got the guy who's kind of helped this guy out, got some of his memorabilia. Maybe if this guy becomes something, just a shot, maybe
Right.
I might get lucky here, right? Never in a million years thinking that it was going to be the jackpot that you hit, I'm assuming. And
I don't even know what the value of them is at this point.
we don't need to talk about that. Let's just say they're sitting somewhere in a vault right now.
Yeah.
They are in a
We have
vault.
no idea.
Yes.
But honestly, we don't even know what the value of them is right
They're
now.
good,
So
they're good.
yeah.
They're sitting in a vault, but then you had shoes and you were able to get your hands on a couple other things. But I mean, that just goes to show you the power of a vision. And listen, if you don't know Jason and Jen, after watching this, you're going to want to know Jason and Jen. The power of the way they run their business, how they think. You want to be around people like that because they're super inspiring. I know we went a little overtime today, guys, but I feel like I can have an entire segment, a series around you guys because of how much you guys have accomplished and how much good you bring to other people's lives. You've made me a better business owner. You inspire me. I'm honored to call you guys friends and partners. And because of the sake of time, we got to wrap up, but we'll definitely have you guys back on. I feel like I can, like I said, segment this into so many cool stories around you guys. People will want you guys back. Thank you again. If people want to find you, where can they connect with you at?
Facebook's probably the best way to connect with us.
Facebook and Instagram, and it's basically our names, Jason and Jen Catalanotto. It's right there on the top, so you guys can spell it out.
We also do have the Agent Institute.
Yep, Agent Institute on Facebook as well.
Love it. There you guys go. Thank you again for watching. Thanks for showing love to Jason and Jen as the chat blows up. You guys are amazing. We'll see you again on the next Fire.
Thank you. Have a
Bye,
good
guys.
one. Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.